Good morning, welcome, Happy New Year, Happy 2013. My name is Bruce Silverberg. I'm an architecture instructor, but also chair of the Faculty Professional Development Committee, and it is in that capacity that I'm here to welcome you to opening day. And, I want to thank everybody who both offered and participated in the quite extensive roster of professional development programs that we ran yesterday, and hope that we will be continuing to offer more of those in the future. I was thinking about what brief remark I might make at the beginning of the semester and at the beginning of a year, because it's a year now where we might feel some optimism. To do that, however, we would be remiss if we did not acknowledge the year we had just been through. And, for me, as I thought about it, I was thinking, we live in a media landscape, and so I was thinking about media analogies, and I thought, well, maybe the first half of the year was, for all of us, a little bit like we were living a few scenes from the film Titanic. And fortunately, we found that the ship is still afloat. Now, we got through that, sigh of relief, but for some of us, at least, the last part of the year started to feel like we had segued into living a few episodes from the TV show Survivor. So I think it's enough to even celebrate that here it is 2013 and we are still here. But really, to get to the point now, the question is, how do we move forward? And so we could borrow, perhaps, the slogan of the successful recent presidential campaign and think about that concept of forward. And what does that mean? What does it mean in terms of both vision, and what does it mean in terms of execution? And of course, I will leave it to others to address those things. We do want to acknowledge two of our trustees who are here, to congratulate Barbara George on her recent election to the Board of Trustees. And to Board President Pat Mullen, who, as always, joins us on these events. And now, really, without any further ado, I'll turn it over to President Gil Stork, who will be doing some uplifting things like awards and retirements and those kinds of things, but then really getting into an important discussion about where we are hopefully moving forward. So, Dr. Stork.
I didn't know that architecture instructors could be somewhat witty. I was a little nervous when you brought up the term execution, though. I wasn't sure how to characterize that. Well, when you look at the agenda today, I hope you see that we have quite a range of emotion involved in this agenda, from celebrations and recognitions to dealing with some very serious challenges for any entity which brings a lot of people together, and that's what do we do in crisis time that we've seen too many episodes of, and that is what happens when we have an intruder on campus who has an intent to do harm. And we want to address that today so that you have a sense of security and responsibility in terms of what we each do and what our roles will be. I want to start out today with recognizing several individuals who have taken the opportunity to make a decision about retirement. And these are people who have announced or are retiring mid-year. Some are here today and some are not. But I'm going to introduce all of them. And if they are here, I'd like them to come forward, if you will. First of all, retiring is Mel Sutton. He was here for 5 years and in nursing and allied health in our LVN program. I'm not sure if Mel is here today. John Alexander in business education. John was with us for 6 years. We have Pepe Rose. Pepe's been here 10 years, but she's made an impact that many of us couldn't accomplish in 100 years. And Pepe will be actually retiring, I think in a month or two, but she's still with us for a while. I don't know if Pepe is here this morning. Pepe, are you here? She's probably working, yeah. Ray Reed in engineering. Ray's been with us for 14 years. And we have Biz Steinberg. Biz has been with us for 29 years. Now, Biz has a real job.
My day job.
Yeah, but and you know, she does take care of a really important part of our community, and that is the people who have challenges in terms of being able to make it in this world. She's the executive director of CAPSLO and has had a long-term relationship with Cuesta College, been teaching in our human development department as a part-time faculty member, but she's stepping aside now so that she can focus on her day job. Okay. And we have Lila Chambers. Lila is retiring after 23 years of service. Lila actually retired at the end of the fall semester. Also a long-time person, a part-time teacher in real estate was Don Blasey, who was with us for 24 years as a part-time faculty member. And then last but not least, who's been here for 39 years, and I remember her when I was teaching in the PE department. Now that takes us back to in the early 70s when she was a student assistant and worked with us. And that experience still did not deter her from pursuing a career here at Cuesta College, and that's Karen Lynn out of community programs. So, yeah. Okay. So Biz, you're the representative of this retirement group, and I want to congratulate you. And we will have a token of recognition for that, and which we will present to you at a later time. 2013 is a significant year in the life of Cuesta College because 50 years ago, San Luis Obispo Community College District was born. And therefore, this is our golden anniversary year. And it doesn't seem like it's been 50 years. Some of you don't know what 50 is all about. I do. And to tell us a little bit about where we're going in terms of how we're going to recognize the 50th anniversary, I'd like to invite Shannon Hill, our Executive Director for Institutional Advancement and Foundation, to share that information with you. Shannon.
So, first of all, on all of your seats has been distributed a copy of our new 50th anniversary logo. And as Dr. Stork said, 50 years ago in April, on the 16th, the great people of San Luis Obispo County brought us into being. And we will be recognizing that and the great partnership we've had with our county. With input from a 50th anniversary ad hoc task force committee last year and continuing on with our fundraising council this year, our goal became very, very clear as to how we should celebrate it. We should celebrate it with great joy, with great accomplishment and pride, but also with minimum impact on our resources. And obviously, right. So to that effect, we'll be celebrating throughout the year 2013 with you and our community, primarily by using events and activities we already have in place and adding the 50th anniversary theme as well as the logos you see behind me. We will be marketing out some stories, some publications and things that will engage our community, engage you. We're going to be looking for your assistance in that. We will also be getting sponsors for those activities and events that we'll be having that will be above and beyond the current budget that we have. So I wanted you all to know that we know that the times that we're living in are such that we can't throw the big golden anniversary party like we would like to. But we also need to make sure that we all recognize the great achievement and celebration that we really, Cuesta is entitled to, and this county is entitled to, and you all are entitled to for the great work that you have done, whether this is your first opening day, like some of our new members, or if it's your, I don't know, Dr. Stork's probably up to almost 100 by now, I'm guessing. 46 times 2, I think you're almost there. So no matter what your history is here, you have a great story to tell. We really want to encourage you to do that through our marketing office so that we may share that. Some of the examples of the activities we would encourage will be including using these logos. We'll be distributing them out today to you. The one in the middle and the one that you have in your chairs we'll be sending out so that you can use them in your email signature. We have also created, as you will soon see, a PowerPoint layout for you if you're going out into the community, as we will be, to share our great stories of our 50th anniversary. We will obviously be updating our Celebrating Success banners here and across the campus and across North County and adding to South County to make sure that everyone across the county knows that we will be celebrating our anniversary. We will also be updating our website and including a place for people to go virtually so we can reach them as well, to include a 50th webpage. We will be creating a published piece to be distributed across the county in print and be partnering with our marketing office and local print media. And that we will be creating additional copies of to distribute at events as well. I want you to be to know that we will be using the whole year, not just this semester, but this semester is more of the kickoff, and we will be continuing that on through the fall and looking at 2013 as a full year of opportunities for us to celebrate with you, with our students, with our alumni, and our full community. We will also be building on events that the foundation and the district and the advancement office already do. Some of you might remember this time last year we were celebrating with our honored alumni, and that was a fantastic thing. We have a very important program today, and we want to make sure that you get exposure to those great honored alumni, that they know that it's our 50th anniversary and take advantage of that. So we will be honoring them at an event in April, and stay tuned for the details on that. But we will be incorporating this theme into most of the events that we already have planned. We also want to definitely ask you for your assistance in thinking of ways how it can integrate into your programming, your activities, the things that you are doing, things that you are really interested in doing, and you may not have the budget for it, but it's so fantastic that you're going to come to me and tell me, Shannon, this is great, we have to do it, and I will welcome the opportunity to talk with you about that. I also wanted to get your stories. Jay Thompson in the back and Monica are back here working on video today, but they're also working on stories of the 50th, going through the history, meeting with our archivists here at Cuesta to get those great stories to give out to the community, and we know that we don't know all of them, even though we've tapped Dr. Stork and Dr. Martinez already. For a few of them, we know that you are successful, your students are successful, our alumni are successful, and we need you to come back and share those stories with us as we move ahead. So we need your assistance in doing that, and whether today is your first opening day or whether it is one of many, we hope that you will join us in celebrating this great year that we have, and we're well beyond the Titanic, and we should really, really be celebrating with great pride the fact that we have come so far from high schools to barracks to now this great campus and the great campus in North County, and looking forward to things to come. So thank you very much, and I look forward to the rest of the opening day with you.
Thank you, Shannon. What many of you don't know is why did the community college system start in 1963? Many of you know that starting in the middle 30s, there was the San Luis Obispo Junior College District at a time when in California, junior colleges were part of the K-14 system, and that was one system. And in San Luis Obispo County, excuse me, the San Luis Obispo Junior College, and their mascot was the Vikings at that time. They were cohabitated with San Luis Obispo High School, so they merged. They were on the same campus and so on. But guess what happened to them in 1959? They lost their accreditation. Kind of sounds scary, doesn't it? It does happen, and it did happen to that system. And why did they do that? Well, what happened in 1959, and I know this because I was a senior in high school then, the way the funding came to the district, which included K-14, and then there was a certain percentage of that funding was to go to the junior college, and the rest was to support K-12. Well, the district was not spending the appropriate amount of money on the junior college. You know, they were using high school faculty to teach the courses. They were doing a lot of crazy things in order to support the K-12 portion. Well, they got cited for that, and there were recommendations made by the commission to stop that behavior and change it. Well, what happened was that the district ignored that and just said, we don't really have to do that. And then guess what happened? There was no warning, probation, show cause. They just kaput. They pulled the plug, and there was no longer a junior college. So for 5 years, there was nothing in San Luis County. So our students, the children of the San Luis County, had to go to, if they wanted to go to junior college, they went to a community college or a junior college that was contiguous to San Luis Obispo County. So they could go to Allen Hancock, they can go to Hartnell, West Hills College, Taft. Those are the ones that were eligible to go, because in those days you didn't have free flow. You could only go to the junior college within the district from which you graduated from high school without release from the Board of Trustees. So one of the reasons why you don't see the big banner on the theater anymore, because I ordered it to be taken down. First of all, the colors drove me crazy. We are not Cal Poly, all right? And as much as I love Cal Poly, and it's my alma mater, we're not Cal Poly. And the other part is that 1964 drives us all crazy, because 64 is really a non-entity. It's an in-between number. So if you have anything that has 1964 on it, destroy it. Get rid of it. The critical dates are 1963, the creation of the district. 1965 was the first day that we operated as a full college on the military property across the creek. Yeah. What happened in 64? We offered a few evening classes up at San Luis Obispo Junior High School because Allen Hancock was messing around in the South County, and they were threatening to take our students. And so Dr. Eisenbeis and Dr. Martinez rallied the troops, created some curriculum, hired some faculty, and offered some classes in order to create a presence of Cuesta College. And so as wonderful as the design is, we're getting rid of it slowly, you know, and we're going to emerge it. So anyway, that's kind of the background of that. So history sometimes repeats itself, but we're not losing our accreditation. I'll talk more about that later. All right, so we want to move on to our awards portion today, and it's my pleasure to give out the Service Excellence Award. This is an award that you nominate. You send in your nominations of people that you think are deserving of this award. I appoint a committee, and it's representative of various employee groups. And that committee takes all the recommendations that have come in, or nominations, and they whittle it down to 2 or 3 finalists. And those finalists are turned over to me, and then I have the opportunity to select the recipient. The awardee on this one, and the one that Kevin's going to introduce in a little bit, the Mamay Diffley Award, comes with a $500 stipend. It's an actual check, you know, that you get. and it's cashier's check, so we know that it'll pass. So you don't have to wait. And so I would like to announce and invite the recipient of the Service Excellence Award to come to the podium right now, and that's Lauren Buckingham. Lauren? Well, let me tell you a few things that Lauren's colleagues said about her. And this will be important for her son, because sometimes sons don't hear this. Yeah.
Potentially a future Cuesta speaker.
So Lauren is described as somebody who embodies service excellence. She's been working on both campuses. She worked in cooperative work experience, academic support, and DSPS, and she currently was transferred from the North County campus to work here at the SLO campus. Lauren is hardworking, she's self-confident, she's calm, and she has a wonderful sense of humor. And if you think we're not describing your mom, let me know, okay? So, because sometimes we don't always get the same message. Lauren is a master liaison for communications among students, faculty, and staff. She runs our program with great efficiency, yet tempers it with the kindness, good humor, and compassion. She is a master of multitasking and follow-through. And I like this one. Honoring Lauren with this Distinguished Service Award will let her know how much she is valued by her department and her colleagues. And it will ensure the entire campus community knows of her excellent service above and beyond her job description. So Lauren, congratulations. Thank you.
You do this to a 52-year-old woman and you could get a blubbering idiot. I do want to say just a couple things. I'm humbled by this because I work with fantabulous people that make it easier to be this. And Carla, I've had this opportunity recently. Some of you are looking and going, who is that person? I've been trying to fly under the radar at North County for a really long time. So DSPS and friends that did this, lunch is on me. Better yet, maybe drinks. And honey, thank you for telling me we're going out to dinner tonight, so I didn't show up in my Uggs and a hoodie. And you do have to go back to school. I'm glad that I gave you a reason to not be there this morning, and he is a potential Cuesta future student and the reason my big achievements right here.
It's always wonderful to have kids see their parents in a different light, other than the ogre that sometimes we are portrayed to be. At this time, I'd like to call to the podium Kevin Bontenbal. Kevin's our Academic Senate President, and he will make the next award. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. Happy New Year. It's great to see everyone. As always, it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to recognize an outstanding faculty member. And in the spring, this is done by honoring one faculty with the Peter and Mamie Diffley Award for Faculty Excellence. This award was established by Peter Diffley in the name of his wife, Mamie Diffley, who passed away in January of 1987. The award recognizes faculty excellence, and as Dr. Stork indicated, includes a cash award of $500. And the primary criterion for this award is excellence in the role as a teacher at Cuesta College, in addition to being involved in one or more of the following: community and/or campus activism, environmental or ecological concerns, involvement in the arts, and this might include poetry, painting, film, sculpture, etc., or special motivation to science students. So it is my pleasure to announce that this year's recipient of the Peter and Mamie Diffley Award is Thomas Patchell. So, now he's going to have to stand up here, as I have a few things I'd like to say about Tom, and his family is more than welcome to join him up here on the stage. So for those that may not know Tom, he's been teaching English classes here at Cuesta for the past 7 years. And you may also not know that Tom is a former Cuesta College student. It was as a student at Cuesta that Tom rediscovered his love of writing and literature, and went on to graduate with his bachelor's and master's degree from Cal Poly in English and a minor in philosophy. Tom is also an ex-Marine. As Tom explains it, in the English department, they all wonder why I was a Marine. And in the Marines, they all wondered why I was studying philosophy and literature. So Tom teaches many different English classes, but his passion and favorite class is creative writing. He has served as the editor of Tellus, the annual literary journal of Cuesta College, and he's also worked closely with veterans on several literary projects, editing an anthology and writing a war story that was adapted into a theatrical production. His teaching and writing are an inspiration to students at Cuesta, garnering him rock star teacher status. As his colleagues will tell you, Tom has a major influence on his students by helping them achieve academic excellence, as well as preparing them for furthering their education at four-year institutions. You may recall that Tom was the featured teacher in the November 13, 2012 issue of the Cuestonian. And in that article, one of Tom's students, a broadcasting major here at Cuesta, was quoted when asked about Tom's creative writing class, "It's my favorite class so far. I think it is a shame it is only once a week." When asked what his favorite part of teaching is, Tom replied, "It's interacting with the students when they are on and learning new things. It seems like when you are teaching, you are always learning something new." Tom, congratulations on being this year's winner of the Peter and Mamie Diffley Award.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I was wondering why my wife was on my case today, too. She said, "Aren't you going to wear a jacket and tie today?" And I said, "Come on, nobody wears jackets and ties to opening day." She said, "Come on, at least put on some different shoes," she said. And she's usually not very good about keeping secrets, but I'll tell you, this time you really did it. So I want to thank the students of Cuesta and my colleagues and staff and everybody, and my wonderful wife and family, and it's little Jamie's birthday today. He's 6 years old. So this has been an inspiration to me, and I'll continue to try to work to inspire the students too. Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations. Tom and I do share one thing in common. I also have 3 boys, and so oftentimes we will console one another over the challenges of raising 3 boys, but that's great. Well, I get the pleasure of introducing 2 individuals who need no introduction. They are stars in their own right. These 2 individuals have been instrumental in helping the college achieve 100% proficiency with our student learning outcomes and assessment. And this morning, they're going to be talking to us about a student engagement survey that will help us even improve student learning more and our institutional effectiveness. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Greg Baxley and soon-to-be Dr. Sally Dimres to the podium.
Good morning, everybody. So Sally and I have been asked to talk to you about excuse me, a survey that is going to be done campus-wide in the spring. And some of you may have been aware that we did a similar survey in fall past year. That one was called the Sense. It was from the same company, or the same center. And that was targeted for entering students. So the demographic of the students that were picked were more entry-level students in their first term or first year of their college experience. The survey we're going to do in spring is campus-wide, so it'll be students in almost every discipline and almost every level except for a few. These are Cuesta students. These students won a welding competition for making a barbecue, which if you're going to weld something, welding a barbecue is just about the coolest thing I can think of. First, I'd just like to offer congratulations. Our college faced a pretty big hurdle in terms of assessing all of our courses, programs, degrees, and certificates in the past year, and you guys did it, and it was all across campus. And it wasn't just faculty that did it. Student services, administrative services, computer services helped a lot in terms of logistics and getting systems set up for us. Kevin and Allison helped a great deal in greasing the skids, moving things along. A number of faculty volunteered to help other faculty. Jeff Grover in geology, Brent Lamont in philosophy, Gary Rubin volunteered to help. We have a new faculty, Susan Iredale in economics. She helped a bunch of the business people do some stuff with SLOs. It was all across campus, so you guys all deserve a lot of thanks. It wasn't Sally and I, it was you, the group of people that are here. You guys did it. The really neat thing is that not everyone got to 100% across the state. We did, they didn't. So what is the survey we're going to be doing? The survey is called the Community College Survey of Student Engagement, which is a lot of words, and so they have an acronym which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so people pronounce it SESI. So when we talk about the SESI, we're talking about the survey. It's going to provide information on student engagement. It's not simply a satisfaction survey that asks the students, did you like the counseling services? Do you like your teachers? The survey asks questions that get to things like, do you actually study? Do you have to submit papers that involve critical thinking? Do you have to do research projects with other students? How often do you go to the counseling center? How often do you seek career counseling? Things that are more closely tied to learning rather than just do you like us. Lots of people use the SESI. Over 1,200 colleges have administered the SESI in the last few years. There's over 1 million, almost 1.5 million respondents of the survey. It's an old school survey. Hogwarts never used online classes or online surveys. They used paper and quill. Your students if you get picked to do the SESI in your classes, we'll be using paper and pencil. The SESI people tried an online survey a couple years ago. Their response rates were abysmal. It totally wrecked their statistics. Your chances of getting picked for your class to do the SESI are about 6%. It's not very high, so you might miss it. Student engagement is classified, at least by the SESI people, as what students do in terms of meaningful educational practices, and the SESI folks correlate that with lots of different categories of types of learning, retention, all sorts of student behaviors. And it's not just what the students do, it's what we do to make the students do that stuff. It's the kind of things we ask for in our courses. It's the kinds of things we offer in terms of student services and student support. So there's lots of different things that the SESI looks at. Why use the SESI? What kind of things might we do with the data? We will get benchmarking data. When we get our SESI results back in summer or early fall next year, or this year, we will get not just our own results, but we will get benchmark results for similarly sized colleges or colleges in similar demographics. And then we also get benchmarked against the entire SESI group itself. So we'll be able to see how engaged our students are compared to all the other students that are out there. We can use that information for diagnosing. Do we need extra support in this area? Do we challenge our students enough in terms of critical thinking? Do we need a writing center? Do we need more tutoring opportunities? We will find out what's going on with our students, at least what's in their minds. When we wrote the strategic plan in the spring of last year and a couple years previously, I know a lot of faculty thought some of the objectives were a bit artificial, and some of the initiatives to achieve those objectives were a bit artificial. The percentages that we put for increases, and it's totally untrue. Those were not kind of artificial. They're absolutely artificial. The SESI will give us some ways in order to look at certain places where we can make certain improvements or specific improvements on campus. We can use the SESI results for planning. Part of our integrated planning model, and it's too bad Deb isn't here because I know she loves the picture. Part of our integrated planning model is that we need to use data to drive institutional planning. The SESI can be used for some of that data. We can use the SESI for accreditation because making sure that we do this kind of research is important to accreditation. Yes, it really is, Barbara. Barbara Bino is the president of the Accreditation Commission. Yes.
And so we were at the RP group conference in October, and there were several of us from Cuesta walking around, and Barbara Bino, who's the president, and Susan Clifford, one of the vice presidents, they were walking along, and Steve, I don't know where he is, Steve and Greg were like, let's go get a picture with her. And Jane and Madeline and the rest of us went just running out the front door of the hotel. But I have to say now, it's really pretty cool that they have this picture with Barbara Bino and Susan Clifford. And what did she say? She said she expressed some concern about what you were going to do with the picture.
Yeah, she's really And we told her, well, we're just going to show it to our colleagues, just to prove that you're a real person. Okay, so what happens with the data? We're going to get data, like I said, for not just our college, but lots of different cohorts of college. And the data will be disaggregated in lots of different ways. We'll find data disaggregated by gender, by ethnicity, by campus sites, by type of student, part-time, full-time. And disaggregated is going to be the word of the year. It's going to impact our strategic planning, all the rest of our planning. And that just means separating things into little parts so we can more clearly identify, okay, we need to improve student success, but the biggest group we need to target is this group, or the most significant impact we can have is over here. And so disaggregation, that's the word of the year. The data doesn't always just sit there. Colleges use SESI data to make real improvements. CUNY uses SESI data as part of their GE outcomes assessment. They do other things as well, but they use part of it as GE outcomes assessment. Itawamba Community College. I just like saying that word. They saw a need through their SESI to develop some writing centers, and so they did. And a college in West Virginia uses SESI data to show that not only did they need to have some incentives to get students onto campus for student support activities, but they developed a rewards program, and they saw that that rewards program actually worked to get students onto campus. So lots of times we do things, we think, oh, let's give students a free t-shirt to see if they'll come. We don't really know if that helps. Using SESI data long-term can identify those kinds of successes. Here's a real example of that the data doesn't sit there. Bridgemont Community College looked at some SESI data in 2005. They realized they needed to change some student support activities. They changed those activities, and they saw a rather large increase in the response rates in terms of students appreciating the support that the college provides to them. So this is the kind of thing that we may be able to see from SESI data. Of course, we can use SESI for accreditation because part of our accreditation standards require that we do this kind of research. We haven't done this kind of research in this entire self-evaluation period. So we haven't done anything like this since 2006 or 2007. SESI data is useful in terms of the SESI people actually give us roadmaps so that we can tie responses from the SESI questions to specific accreditation standards. So for all of you that are going to respond to Kevin's plea later this morning to help with the accreditation self-evaluation, you'll be able to use some of the SESI data as we're writing, we as in we, are writing our self-evaluation that's due in 2014. So SESI will be coming to you. How do you get selected? The SESI people actually do this. I'm a fairly frugal kind of guy. I always think, well, can we just do this ourselves? I change the oil in my car. I do all my own housework in terms of maintenance and stuff. So initially when people said, oh, let's spend a few dollars and get SESI, I thought, well, let's just do it ourselves. And Ryan kind of cringed and hid in the room. And the SESI people actually do a lot of work for us. That's part of the reason why we've gone with SESI, is that they do all the selection process. So they look at our entire schedule of classes for spring, and they do a targeted selection of classes. They sample certain classes and certain types of classes to make sure that our data set can be compared to the national norms and the other benchmarks. You'll get a letter later in the spring if your section has been picked to do the SESI in your class. The SESI takes about 45 to 50 minutes to administer. There will be someone that comes to your classroom to administer the SESI, so you don't have to worry about doing it and handling the paperwork yourself, but one of the campus people will come and do this for you. You'll get a letter from Ryan Cartnell's office from Institutional Research. You'll also get communication from the President's office. We're going to make it really clear this time, right, that people are getting the SESI. There'll be lots of dialogue. And you should be expecting this to happen sometime in mid-April, right after spring break. Yes, Joe. I think you should be there at least to start the class and introduce the person. In terms of ed code, yes, I think you have to be there. Yeah. So let's see how you do. Here's a question that's on the SESI. How much does this college emphasize providing the support students need to help you succeed? And so I'd like you to just talk to the person sitting next to you. What percentage of students will answer quite a lot or somewhat? Go ahead, talk. What percentage? Loading up the posters and stuff? There's the shopping bag. Okay, that's enough. No, really, that's enough. You are worse than our students. Holy smokes. All right. Thanks, folks. Great discussion. Sorry to interrupt. Love the energy. If you've been paying attention, I actually already gave you the answer to this question earlier. The SESI people also do a faculty survey. We're not doing that, at least not right now. But the benchmarking data for faculty at all the institutions the SESI people have done, 79% of faculty think that we do this for our students. Students are really close, 77%. But this answer was on a previous slide for the Bridgemont Community College. Are you ready for the ones I haven't given you the answers to? Okay. So here are 5 questions. Percentage of students that rarely or never each of these 5 things. Again, I'd like you to talk to the person sitting next to you just for a little bit of time. See if you can come up with some numbers for these, and then I'll show you the actual student numbers. Oh, did anyone get it right, the previous one? Who got it right? Raise your hand if you got the previous one right, 77%. There's a few in the back. Anyone else get close? Some over there. John got close. John always pays attention. We have prizes. They give me soft things to throw. Okay, I need to speed this up a little bit. I asked the SESI people for just a couple little promotional items that we could advertise and show how neat they were, and they sent me a gross of these little foam cup holders. So if you like a little foam cup holder, I can't throw them nearly as well as the coasters. So there you go. And I have a few coasters and some pens, so if you want some cool SESI stuff, go ahead. All right, so this is the nationwide benchmarking. 31% of students at community colleges nationwide rarely or never create class presentations. They rarely work with classmates outside of class. Yeah, ouch. 34% of students rarely or never skip class. What was your answer? Like 60 or 70? Yeah. Come to class unprepared. 50% of students say they rarely come unprepared. There's a big difference in perception. Only half the students report seeking career counseling ever. Question?
No, I just think it's higher for the nursing department. I mean,
Yeah.
my students have to present a treatment plan. Well, they come prepared, and they've got to do a presentation. They've got to work with a team member. So I think I feel like my students are higher.
That's terrific. I'm serious. That's terrific. But the data show that this is what it is. And so people may ask, well, what does this mean to my class? Well, you may have data that shows that your class is different. You may not have data. You may just think your class is different. And so maybe you need to investigate that in some way that's more quantitative rather than just your gut feeling. So, well, there you go. So you actually have the data. So that's perfect. Okay, here's just a graphic. I'm not going to ask you to predict these, but these are just faculty versus student perceptions about why students drop out of class. And the actual numbers aren't so important, just the differences in the numbers, I think. Yeah, wow. There's a huge difference in the way we perceive what our students will answer versus what they actually answer. And so this is why I think the SESI is interesting, because we'll see if our students actually fit in these same national demographic categories or if our students are somehow different. One thing we know about student engagement is that it doesn't happen by accident. It has to happen by design. And so hopefully what the SESI will do is to get us to ask these kinds of questions of ourselves. How do we know our students come to class prepared? How do we know our students are taking counseling services seriously or show up to campus events? Anyway, so that's what I hope we get out of the SESI, is something interesting that we can relate to our classrooms and our students. And we have just a little bit of time if anyone else has any questions. Yes, question. Colleges seem to be on somewhere between a 2 and 4 year repeat cycle for the SESI. A lot of the colleges I looked at were on a 3-year repeat cycle. Some are on longer term, some are on like a 5-year repeat cycle. So it's up to us. We're right now, in terms of surveying our students in terms of satisfaction or engagement, we're on like a 6 or 7 year cycle. But it used to be more frequent 5 or 10 or 15 years ago. We have not committed to do it again. Personally, I think, yes, we should do this so we can get some long-term sort of data, at least for a while. Yeah, good question, though. Yeah. Actually, there are no online classes that are surveyed because they can't do it with paper and pencil. And their response rates for the online version were so small that the SESI people abandoned that project. They tried that about 3 years ago. Question, yes, Nancy. Yes. How is the day determined? Is Ryan here? Ryan? I don't know that answer, Nancy. I hope there's some flexibility built in. Yes, I would hope there's some flexibility built into the system. Yeah, question. This particular data? The SESI website's full of little PowerPoint presentations or other research papers that have some of this data available, and we will make this presentation available on our website in the next day or so you can look at this particular data. I'll put a few other links up to nicer sources of data so you don't have to fish for it too. Yeah. Anyone else? All right, thank you for your time.
I usually start my math classes with a word problem because that's what students hate to do, are word problems. So I was going to start something like this. Dr. Stork started his job as interim president on January 1st, 2010. 2 years later, he was appointed permanent president, and in 2012, it was also a leap year. How many days has President Stork been in office? Okay, and this is without a calculator, all right? So I did that. I did my calculations, and it's 1,114 days. And guess what? Yeah. You know, it's been everything that I thought it would be. But you know, no matter what has transpired during that time, good or bad, I cannot go back and change any of it. I can only influence the outcome of what happens today. I've learned a great deal from my oldest daughter and her 20-year battle with prescription drug addiction. Now, fortunately, in recovery for 6 years, her program is built on the fact that sustained recovery happens one day at a time. She focuses on doing the very best that she can in order to get through today, and worry about tomorrow when tomorrow becomes today. My expectation of myself is to focus on making my very best effort toward the work that I need to complete today, the relationships that I need to attend to today, the self-improvement that I need to invest in today, and the notes of recognition and thank you that I need to write today. Tomorrow will have its own set of actions and challenges upon which to focus when tomorrow becomes today. My expectation of you is to focus on doing your very best work today in whatever role you play. Take time to celebrate your accomplishments, then wake up tomorrow and do the very best work that day. This morning, I'm going to focus on 4 topics. Deal with some acknowledgments, accreditation, the budget status, and remind ourselves of the new reality. As far as the acknowledgments concerned, I just want to take the opportunity and have you join me in thanking Bruce, Kevin, Greg, Sally, Shannon, Joe, Ron, and Kelsey for their wonderful presentations today. Thank you. I also want to again congratulate the retirees. Together, they amassed over 150 years of serving our students, and that's really to be commendable. And I hope their retirement is exciting, challenging, and rewarding as mine has been. I also want to acknowledge a new grant. I want to congratulate the library staff who received a non-cash grant provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities initiative of Building Cultures. This grant, called the Muslim Journeys Bookshelf, was awarded to 842 libraries and state humanity councils across the country and will provide our library 25 books and 3 films, including bookmarks, book plates, and posters. But by receiving this grant, the Cuesta College Library also becomes eligible for some upcoming cash grants of $4,000 to $5,000 each. And I want to acknowledge the lead for this project that's been adequately and superbly provided by Denise Ferry. So thank you very much. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge some recent appointments. In Human Services, the board approved at our last meeting the appointment of Gay Style as the new Human Resources Specialist, replacing Taj Knudsen. And I also want to congratulate faculty members Michelle McCostin and Cynthia Welshusen, who have been appointed as technology resource instructors on a partial release time basis. They will be providing technical assistance to the distance education faculty and are replacing Karina Love and Matt Vasquez. So now let's turn our attention to accreditation, as if it hasn't been at the forefront of our attention. On December 7th, I received a copy of the final report of the visiting team, with an invitation to appear before the Commission during their January session. The report remains confidential until the Commission sends its action letter. At that time, we will be required to make the report accessible to the public. In my communication to you on December 18th, I indicated that I would be attending the meeting of the Accrediting Commission for Community and Junior Colleges on January 11th in Burlingame, and I would report on the outcome of that session today. The actual date of the hearing was actually moved to January 10th, the day before, in order to group the show cause colleges together on the same day. Attending this hearing besides myself were Vice President Deb Wolf and Trustee President Pat Mullen. The structure of the hearing was as follows. We were given a 5-minute window to make our remarks and plead our case. I prepared it, well, 5 minutes is better than 2. Yeah. When I prepared my initial response, and I timed myself, it was 12 minutes. So by the time I edited, pared down, and focused on the essence of the things I needed to get across, it was 2 pages. And I delivered my remarks from that document, and I also provided copies for each of the 28 members of the Commission. Following my presentation, a few commissioners asked questions of Trustee Mullen and myself. The tone of the questions was positive. The congratulatory comments from attendees and the ACCJC staff acknowledged the tremendous amount of quality work that all that you have done and accomplished during these past 11 months. And I want to say thank you, because not everybody gets that response. During our session with the Commission, Dr. Raul Rodriguez, who is the chair of the visiting team, he was also present. Following the question and answer period, we were excused, and Dr. Rodriguez remained to answer questions from the Commission relative to my comments. We now wait for another 2 weeks or so before we receive the action letter from ACCJC. I will be sending to you, after this meeting this morning, the statement that I prepared for the hearing, so you can be well aware of how I was representing you and your efforts to the Commission. But I wanted to read an excerpt from that statement, which I think is really important that you hear now. I said in my report, the visiting team report substantiated our compliance with regard to the recommendations and standards related to technology and fiscal stability. Also noted in the team report, full compliance related to planning is hampered by the necessary time it will take for us to complete and assess the planning cycle. And I think we've been all aware of that. That was the dangling participle that we were challenging with. However, what I really wanted the Commission to focus in on was a portion of the visiting team report which emphatically recognizes the work of the college in working towards and achieving compliance. And I quoted from the visiting team report. And the visiting team report said this: "It is the opinion of the team that the college has created and implemented a robust, comprehensive, and fully integrated planning model. This new model addresses the previous concerns and demonstrates that the college has created linkages between program review, enrollment management, resource allocation, technology planning, facilities planning, and financial planning on the one hand, and the college educational master plan and the strategic plan on the other." And this is a really powerful piece next of what they said. "As a result, there is good cause to believe that the college will fully conform to this recommendation by completing the planning cycle at the end of the current academic year in June 2013. I wanted to draw that particular statement out of the context of the entire report because I felt it was really critical to what we feel we've done and what we feel that you and I and working together have accomplished. I went on to say that the Board of Trustees, the faculty and staff, and I as the Superintendent President are equally, if not more, confident that Cuesta College has demonstrated that it has met the burden of proof regarding why its accreditation should be affirmed and therefore why it should be removed from sanction. Since the visiting team was at Cuesta College at the end of October, the intense work has continued of implementing our strategic plan and following the calendar of activities in the integrated planning model. A mid-year report on the progress toward achieving strategic plan objectives and operational plan initiatives was made to our Board of Trustees on January 8th. The board was impressed with the fact that every action step and initiative identified has been completed according to the timeline established. The consequences of remaining on sanction for this past four-year period have been significant. Even though we continue to receive positive support from our local communities that we serve, the evidence shows, due to the uncertainty of our accreditation process, that enrollment has suffered, that applicant pools have been dampened, and donor participation has been negatively impacted. And then I urged the Commission. I said, my colleagues and I are making a serious appeal to you, the Commission, to consider the evidence provided in our show cause report, the contents of the team report, and its stated confidence in our compliance efforts, and the considerations that I have presented to you this afternoon, for you to render an action of reaffirmation of the accreditation status of Cuesta College. That was my message, the end of the message to them. I wanted to plant in their mind that, yes, we have this unanswered question on Rec 2, but the rest of the work that we have done is undeniably compliant. Now, I went on to say we are currently engaged in the planning and preparation of our 2014 comprehensive self-evaluation, at which time we will be held accountable for all accreditation policies, all standards, and all eligibility requirements, as well as addressing the planning agendas from the 2008 comprehensive self-evaluation. Cuesta College will continue to value the guidance of the Commission, and we wholeheartedly support professional self-regulation as the most effective means of assuring the integrity, the effectiveness, and quality of our district. So that's where it ended, and that's where we went into the Q&A, and then we got kicked out. Okay. So what is the expected outcome of their action? I asked for reaffirmation, knowing that Rec 6 and Rec 7 on technology and fiscal stability were solid, and from the team report, they substantiated our compliance efforts, and that in Rec 2, we would not technically be in compliance until we completed and assessed our planning cycle in June. Over the last several months, we have been preparing everyone, you and our external public, to expect an extension of some level of sanction, most likely not show cause. Because we are held to a different standard than other colleges are going through comprehensive reviews. We are the test case. We are the test case of how accreditation processes work. We are the evidence of the work of our commission, who is also on sanction, for not being hard-nosed enough with our member institutions. So we know and we have asked that question, are we being held to a different standard than other colleges? And the answer is yes. Just as College of the Redwoods and just as City College of San Francisco are being held to a different standard. So what is my gut feeling? My gut feeling is we should be reaffirmed now, because I know what we've done, and this is not just a quick show for the, for the glory of the Accreditation Commission. We have turned the corner into creating an environment in which accreditation is a way of life and not an exception to the rule. I know that, and I'm confident in that. But they are still going to be held accountable. I refer to the commission. That do they let us, out of good faith, skate on? We do not have a good track record with the commission since 2008, actually since 2002 on some issues. So deep down in my heart, I hope for reaffirmation, but I can't go out and say that until I've seen that action letter. I've had that feeling before and have been disappointed. I understand the process better. I understand the pressure on the commission. I understand that everybody is watching what happens to Cuesta College. Because what happens to us, there will be some expectation for College of Redwoods. There will be some expectation for City College of San Francisco. So the commission has to get it right. And I wanted you to be aware of that. So, whatever happens, whatever the action letter says, if we're unsanctioned or if we're reaffirmed, hallelujah, that's a victory. Because our accreditation was not taken away. And anything that is better than that is a success story on terms of your work and our work towards compliance. But deep down, what I write on the restroom walls is reaffirmation or bust, okay? Yeah. All right, so what's next? Now, we're going to receive a letter from the commission, and that usually comes right at the end of January or the first part of February. Last year was February 6th, I believe. So we have been planning for how are you going to roll out the information and the message. Day one is when we actually receive the letter. We will get, we will have the day one is we will send out a media alert that we're going to be holding a press conference the next day. We'll also send out a message to you that we will be holding a special open President's Forum right here in this room at 8 o'clock the next morning. Invited for students, faculty, staff, whoever can show up and who wants to show up. At around 10 o'clock, around 8 o'clock, we'll do the President's Forum, and then shortly after that, because I want you to know before we release it publicly, we will be holding a press conference out in front of the admin building that morning at 10 o'clock. Simultaneously with the press conference, we'll be sending out an all-campus message. I don't want to send the message out too soon because somebody's going to get on their cell phone, they're going to text a reporter to the Tribune, and suddenly Tribune's got an unfair advantage of getting the word out before the other media, and we have to manage the media in a responsible way. Okay. And we'll also notify key people of our support group, our foundation directors, key donors, key legislators that have been working on our behalf and supporting us. We want to make sure they get a personal message about what's happening. And then what happens on day three? Day three is when we finalize all the collateral materials that we're working on right now to be able to put in the hands of people, put on our websites, put in our local high schools, put in the hands of parents of students that are making decisions about Cuesta College. And we'll actualize and implement that particular strategy. So we're working with the superintendents of all the county high schools to get access to their best piece of communication to the families that they serve in their school district. And we're asking for them to allow us to use their best vehicle to get our message out so that people are all getting the same level of message. So that's our strategy for the rollout and the plan for that rollout. So you can be anticipating hearing about these things and not be surprised when that comes before you. So meanwhile, we still are working and continue to work on the preparation of our 2014 Accreditation Comprehensive Evaluation. That report will be due to be submitted by June 15th of 2014. Which will be followed then by a 3-day team visit in October of 2014. The Commission will then take action in January of 2015. It never ends. That's why it's a way of life. I encourage each of you to seriously consider joining a team, joining a standard team, to be able to participate in that process. When you join the team, you get to work on a little piece of the action, but every little piece of the action is important. And if we do our very best work on documenting our efforts on every little piece of that action, our report will be a stellar report about the collective pieces that we've been able to put together and respond to. So I encourage you to do this. It's a great learning process, and it's a great way to understand more clearly about what the standards mean, the substandards, the policies, and the eligibility requirements. All right, moving on to our next greatest subject, and that's the budget. Okay. Well, we've been working, you know, towards our long-term budget reduction plan. And we've been working on phase one, which was the program elimination and modification. That plan was completed and implemented subsequent to board action on December 12th. This segment of the reduction plan will be phased in during the next 3 terms. Some programs are gone now. Some are going to be phased out. Some, we've been identifying groups of students who still need certain courses. We're looking at how do we roll out those courses and meet the needs of students that we can meet if we have enough collective students to be able to warrant it. But Academic Affairs has been working on the rollout, and we call it a teach-out plan. How do we teach out of the program? And how do we help students be successful and complete their goals? We're now working on phase 2. Phase 2 is an effort to permanently reduce $800,000 of expenditures from the non-academic budgets. Now, I've assigned targets to the various executive groups, and in that target group, we have the President's Cluster, which is targeted at a $100,000 reduction. Vice President of Administrative Services Cluster is $400,000, and then each of Academic Affairs and Student Services, $150,000. I held a cabinet retreat on January 7th to review the initial proposals from each of the clusters, and we'll review a more refined set of proposals at our next cabinet meeting on January 23rd. I'll be working with the Planning and Budget Committee as well as the affected bargaining or employee groups over the next 6 weeks. As noted in my December 18th communication with you, I plan to take the recommendation for Phase 2 to the March 6th meeting of the Board of Trustees for action. Now, there's been a lot of buzz about the governor's proposed budget. Now, you know, we had the successful passage of Prop 30 and Prop 39, and we've had seemingly a rebounding state economy, and the economic conditions appear to be improving. But here again, I have to remain cautiously optimistic, as the governor's proposal is much like our educational master plan that was described by the visiting team in 2011 as too thematic. And what you'll see, and what we had to do, we had to turn around and we had to create an educational master plan addendum so as to identify specific institutional goals that were more focused and more measurable. This is what I see right now happening with the budget. The budget is a sweeping change of direction and thought. A lot of themes, a lot of initiatives, but very little concrete action. Tony Summer, our Vice President of Administrative Services, and Chris Green, our Director of Fiscal Services, are in Sacramento today for the budget workshop with community colleges to start to sort out what does each of those particular entities mean and how is it going to affect community colleges. The theme of the budget is really about building an efficient educational system in California. So which implies that it's been inefficient. Okay. And I think we understand that. That's what we're doing right now. We're trying to be able to be a college that's more efficient. We have limited resources. How do we get the biggest bang for the buck and still serve our students in the most effective way? The state of California has to do the same thing. How do we create an effective educational system in an economic environment which has been challenged? So, some of the budget assumptions. The budget assumption is that it'll be a balanced budget. There will be no structural shortfall in the next year and beyond. It'll be modest and steady growth in the next 5 years. We have built into our long-term budget reduction plan some inflationary income from the state of California. Now, assuming there will be some new money coming in, we still had to do a $1.5 million budget reduction plan now in order to be able to avoid having to do the annual Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 kinds of behavior that we've been doing in the past. Because they're servicing debt at a lower rate, there's some savings in that regard, and that we have higher revenue from Prop 30 and Prop 39. Understanding that Prop 30 has a shelf life. Prop 39, which is the initiative to provide resources for energy renewal, green energy, which is going to be allocated on a project basis. It's not money that we get from the state. It's money that is assigned to us based on qualified projects. So we have to have projects that we submit, are evaluated, and then possibly be awarded from the Prop 39 money. And it's estimated that there will be a 5% increase in spending in education and Medi-Cal. Those are the two main areas of the governor's budget, is the focus back on education at K-12, community college, and university, and also on health care. So the effects on the community colleges, the good news is that we will get a larger percentage of the Prop 98 money. Prop 98 funds K-12 and community colleges. And there's a split in there. It's been about 11% ideally for community college and 89% for K-12. That will go up a little bit by two reasons. One is an additional resources coming in from Prop 30, but the transfer of the responsibility for delivering adult education from K-12 to community colleges. And we don't have a clue what that means yet. It sounds great. You know, if you're in Santa Barbara, that's kind of the way of life. Santa Barbara City College has been the adult education provider for 50 years. In this district, when Cuesta College came in, all the K-12 districts said, don't you dare get involved in adult ed. That's our turf. And the district actually made an official, a formal agreement with the K-12 districts not to get involved in adult education. And so that's why we have been in a community service or a fee-based or some non-credit programs over the years, but we haven't touched the traditional adult ed. So that's being shifted to us because the legislature and the governor feels that we're better equipped to deal with adult learners than the K-12 industry is. But we don't know yet what that means. Does that mean they're just going to pay for classes? But what about the infrastructure it takes, the staffing, the facilities, etc., to be able to provide a comprehensive adult ed program? We don't know what that means yet. This is designed to be a multi-educational year. Well, I think one of the most important things of the governor's proposal is to take out of the hands of the legislature the decision of how the money gets distributed within the system. Because that's driven by political platforms. The CSU and University of California, the allocation of resources is handled by the Board of Regents for UC and the Board of Trustees for the CSU. So the proposal is to take the apportionment money and give it and put it in the hands of the Board of Governors. It will strengthen the role of the Board of Governors and give it more clout and more authority and more purpose, and take it out of the hands of the politicians. It sounds good. It sounds reasonable. Because we have a better opportunity to work with a group of people who understand the system rather than let the influence of political issues overweigh the needs of education. But we don't know what that looks like yet. Now, some of the other interesting things that are going to affect students. There's another limit rule. Now, we talked about unit rule in terms of priority registration when it's coming out of the Student Services Task Force. This is another one. This is putting into place a 90-unit of state-subsidized cap on credit units. That means that if we have a student, for whatever reason, has been in and out of community college for a long time, and they surpass the accumulation of 90 credit units, they no longer can take those units at $46 a unit. They now have to pay non-resident fee, which is now $200 and some. Okay, that's what's in the proposal at this point.
Does a college graduate come back that has more than 90 units?
It's good. It's.
Are they also over 90
I hope Tony's asking that question right now. What I've heard through some of the CEO conversations in the state is it's only going to be tied to community college units earned at a community college. Because I have the same question. You know, what if I graduated from college in 1982 and I had a degree in some fantastic field like social science? No, that was just a disparaging remark. And I really was never able to use it, you know, because it was not specific enough in today's more specific world. But suddenly I want to be a nurse. So will I be held accountable for those units in my undergraduate degree or not? That's a good question. We don't know that yet, for sure. And you can see the other aspects of it. One of the other concerns I have is about the increased number of online courses. Now, what's behind this is not necessarily saying, Cuesta College, you need to add more online courses. There's discussion about creating a source outside of any one college, almost creating a virtual campus of offering more online classes at which anybody can access at any time, and then they can transfer the units around that. What is missing from this, and what we're becoming so vividly aware of today is, and it goes back to the accreditation standards, and that is, how are we supporting the students who are online students in terms of access to services, to counseling, to tutorial, and so on. I don't see anything mentioned in here about a greater support for, even though we add more online courses, how are we going to do a better job of supporting the students? That's a really important question. So, let me go back to that slide. So the question really was, you know, we got a lot of themes and so on, but we don't have a lot of specifics in terms of what that means at that point. So we have a lot of threats. We have volatility of revenue. As more and more of the state income is based on income tax, and more of that income tax is borne by the top wage earners, and the resource for those top wage earners is the stock market, and the volatility of the stock market, you can see which, if you use the thinking, you'll see that eventually has an effect on the volatility. So, I won't go through all the threats, but there are still threats and insecurities involved in this. We don't know if our economy is going to be stable, but we do want to make sure we understand the timeline. From January to May, this year will be a really critical time, because that's where all those conversations, those decisions are going to be made about the specificity of rolling out the state budget. Whereas last year, what Governor Brown delivered in January was basically the same as May, and we could do a lot of good concrete planning. This year, it's going to be very different. So, we'll also be able to hear from the Legislative Analyst's Office, who will weigh in and say, yeah, we think this sucks, or we think this is right on target. So they're a very powerful influence in terms of how the budget is perceived. The next major point will be May 14th when we get the May revised announcement. And then June 15th is the statute time at which the legislature is to pass on a budget to the governor. So we hope that that will happen. And we hope that that will happen on time so we can do the very best job that we can in planning. So, I'm going to end my remarks at this point. Obviously, accreditation and fiscal stability will still be an important part of our conversation. It's not to be scared of. I think that we have risen out of the ashes, and we see we can start to smell the roses, but it's never done. It's just the fact that we have more security, more certainty in our lives, and that's one of the things that we want to provide for our students, more predictability. And what we want to provide for you and each of us is certainty about our jobs, certainty about the college staying afloat, something that we can depend on and we can continue to develop and move on with our career. With that, I'd like to say thank you for all of your efforts, of what you've done, what you continue to do. And so, now it's really time to face the new reality that we've been facing, but with greater abundance, and get on with business. So I apologize to Kevin and Allison for taking up some of their time, but I think the topics that we dealt with today were really crucial and really important and have to be in the forefront of our attention as we go on. I wish you a great semester and great success, and watch for those students' twinkling eyes on Tuesday, or the glazed over eyes that you may see. So thank you again, and have a good day.